Hi, I'm Eric McTravers, planner with the Regional Planning Agency. In this video, we're going to be talking about ways to make commercial areas in East Brainerd more walkable. As part of the Area 11 East Brainerd Plan, we're going to be looking at some options, and we'll be asking for your input at the end of this video. East Brainerd is home to this area's prime shopping location, with Hamilton Place Mall and all the stores, restaurants, and other businesses along Gunbarrel Road. But as you can see in the street and parking lots, driving is basically the only way to get around. Is this what people want?
In the Area 11 Plan Kickoff Survey, we asked people what they liked most about East Brainerd. The top responses were all related to the wide variety and convenience of restaurants, stores, and grocery stores in the area. When asked what they wanted to see more of, a top response was more walkable, mixed-use commercial centers. Unfortunately, most of the Gunbarrel Road corridor is not walkable today. Why is that? First, a spread out development pattern means residential areas are typically a long way from commercial centers, so everyone has to drive to get to and from their destinations. Second, even if you happen to live close enough to walk to a store, not all streets have sidewalks, and even those that exist don't feel very safe. Third, because buildings are far back from the street with large parking lots in front, once you arrive at your destination, you still have to walk a long distance across the asphalt to get to the store entrance, and you're not likely to just park once and walk between destinations. And finally, the lack of trees in parking lots and along sidewalks makes walking less comfortable. People will generally walk 10 minutes or up to a quarter mile if the walk is pleasant. Trees provide shade and cool the temperatures from these asphalt surfaces.
Let's take a look now and see what some other communities around the country are doing. Karen Hunt is the director of RPA's Community Planning and Design, and she's traveled to some other places and studied this sort of thing. So, Karen, retailers have taken a hit in the last couple of years with the growth of online shopping. So, what are some communities doing to revamp those commercial areas and make them more attractive to customers?
Well, first of all, cities all across the country are building new commercial developments with a mix of uses, including housing. And historically, that's the way cities were built. They always had a mix of places to live, work, shop, all in close proximity to each other. But cities all over the country are going back to more of a Main Street feel with new commercial development. You've probably visited some of those places on vacation. They tend to be designed specifically to give the customer a more unique experience. And many of them are bringing in higher retail sales. When people are there, they tend to stay longer and shop more. They also typically bring in higher tax revenues for the community as opposed to all the strip shopping centers up and down the corridors. So Cambridge Square here in Ooltewah is a great local example of walkable mixed-use commercial center. As you can see, the buildings are all 2 stories. They have shops and restaurants on the ground floors. We have offices and even some housing up on the upper levels. The buildings are clustered together tightly. The storefronts front directly onto the sidewalk, which makes walking and window shopping much more enjoyable. And some parking is located in the front, but most of the larger lots are behind the buildings or located down side streets. So you can literally park once and walk to a restaurant and then to an office appointment and so on. And people really like this type of development. They like having the shops and the restaurants and the stores and the offices all in close proximity to each other. And what really works here is that this entire development is all designed around this beautiful public square where people can come for events or just sit and relax. So the buildings, the parking, the housing, this park, everything is purposefully designed to create a unique, walkable experience for people.
Awesome.
As Karen pointed out, we've been building this type of spread out development pattern for several decades, so it won't be an easy or quick change, but we can do some things that can begin to turn the tide. So what can be done to remedy these issues? Let's take a look at some options.
First, we can address development patterns and concentrate any new commercial development to a few key intersections. That way we're preventing commercial creep along our major corridors. National trends show the demand for in-person retail is decreasing. So concentrating new retail and other developments at these centers helps make those businesses more viable.
We can then encourage other uses, like small apartment buildings, often called missing middle housing, in the stretches between these centers to support businesses and to allow some people the option to walk from home to a store or a park or to work. If they walk, that means fewer drivers are on the road, which alleviates congestion. Also, placing these apartments out in front of big box stores and on underutilized parking lots helps build the more walkable centers that are envisioned. This approach to new housing can also preserve the single-family character of the existing neighborhoods.
Another option is to improve sidewalk connections and make them a priority. Unfortunately, building sidewalks is expensive and city budgets are tight. We'll need to build new sidewalks at key locations to connect recreation, offices, and shopping with residential areas.
Where sidewalks already exist, we could make them more comfortable to use by making them wider and adding a planting strip with trees between the sidewalk and the road. Streetscaping along sidewalks not only gives us shade, but trees also provide some separation between pedestrians and car traffic, creating a safer environment.
Here we are at the Best Buy on Gunbarrel Road. There's very few trees behind me, which can make for a really uncomfortable walk on a sunny day.
When we surveyed East Brainerd residents about commercial development, we asked people what they wanted to see in new or existing commercial development, and their number one response was trees and other landscaping. So what do we have to do to get more trees and shrubs in these commercial areas? The city's landscape ordinance controls how many trees must be planted in new development projects. Under the current standards, a parking lot is only required to have 1 tree every 10 spaces, and this is only applicable to new developments. In order to increase these standards, the City Council would have to adopt changes to the city's landscape ordinance. Here locally, some places have already adopted higher landscape standards, as seen in these example projects. Changes to the ordinance could also include requirements for more trees, as well as understory plantings, and perhaps incentive programs or credits could ensure rain gardens and other stormwater plantings are installed.
Here we are at Waterside, where some of these options are being put to use, and with some success. Now, making all of these things happen is going to take coordination between the city, property owners, and developers, and would take some time for it to be fully realized. But if we commit to making them happen, we can have attractive and walkable commercial centers right here in East Brainerd.
Now that's a lot to absorb, but based on everything you've just heard, how do you think we should address walkability in our commercial areas? Option A. Improve development patterns. Cluster mixed-use development in key locations and change the format to become more centers-oriented. Reduce the distance between buildings and bring new buildings closer to the street or sidewalks. Limit new commercial zoning to key intersections or centers locations. Promote higher density housing at and near centers and along major corridors. Locate the majority of parking to the side or rear of buildings. And finally, require less parking overall for new development. Option B. Improve or focus on sidewalk connections that widen existing ones where needed, add new sidewalk connections in key locations, and require improved sidewalks and pedestrian ways in new commercial developments. Option C. Make walking more comfortable. Adjust landscape requirements for new and existing developments. Create programs to add more trees and plants in parking lots, and include trees and plantings along sidewalks. Let us know which of these options you prefer for improving walkability in East Brainerd by taking the short opinion poll at the link below in the video description. If you want to know more about the Area 11 plan, including what we've heard so far from residents and what we found in our research, go to the Area 11 plan page on the RPA website, also linked below. And please tell your friends and your colleagues about the Area 11 East Brainerd plan. Thank you.